Good evening and welcome to the Candidates Forum for the Republican primary election for the office of the Town of Greenfield Supervisor. All three candidates on the ballot were invited and two are participating. Supervisor Kevin Beach did not respond to his invitation. This event was organized and moderated by the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. It will be live streamed and recorded and posted on the League website. League rules require that if a candidate forum is recorded, it must be broadcast or rebroadcast in its entirety. My name is Linda McKenney, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County, and I live in the town of Wilton. I will be your moderator tonight. The League of Women Voters of Saratoga County is nonpartisan, volunteer political organization dedicated to the informed and responsible participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. That has been League policy since 1920. Membership is open to everyone age 16 and older, so please consider joining your local League. We have received questions from the public in advance, and these were reviewed by League members, and questions were selected to be representative and to avoid redundancy. Questions of a personal nature are never included. Candidates, this is your opportunity to let voters know your stance on these topics and how you will address the issues facing this community. Please do not waste valuable time tearing down or labeling your opponent. Deal with the facts. In your closing, please do not put your opponent on the spot with no chance for reply. We have a timer for this evening's event who will hold up signs and verbally let the candidates know what the timing is. Green means they have 1 minute left. Yellow means 30 seconds, and red means stop. The time is up. The names of the three candidates for the supervisor of the Town of Greenfield in alphabetical order are Daniel Cochran, Michael Gyarmathy, and Kevin Beach. Now is the time to hear their 2-minute opening statements. We did a little exercise to decide who would go first, but we will alternate back and forth, so each candidate will get a chance to go first. But for the opening statement, Mike is going to start. So if you want to unmute yourself and give us your opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this event. I feel it's important for the residents to get to know the candidates better and answer any questions that they may have. I also want to thank all the residents who are joining us tonight. I appreciate that very much. I've been a town resident for 48 years now. I met my wife here. We were married here in St. Joseph's Church. We raised 3 boys here. And I've also run several small businesses in the town. So I'm familiar with overseeing people and finances. I've served on the town planning board for 12 years, helping residents achieve their goals while following our comprehensive plan and our zoning laws. I served on the town board for the past 3 years, and I'm also involved with a nonprofit group called the Giving Circle, which is a volunteer group that helps people in need with handicap accessible ramps and other modifications that they may need within their homes that they could not otherwise afford. This year I decided to give up my town board seat to run for supervisor based on what I have seen these past 3 years. I feel there is a need for new leadership in our town. We need leadership that listens to our residents and their concerns, leadership that listens to our employees in all departments, leadership that will address issues in a timely manner. While Greenfield is a great place to live, there is much work to do. Our zoning and planning board chairs have informed.
Stop.
Thank you, Mike. There is something going on with your microphone. There's some kind of staticky thing. I don't know what it is. We didn't notice it before, but I just wanted you to be aware of it. We could hear you, but it
Okay.
kind of like altered what you were saying. So
Okay.
It
if you wanna
sounds like
mute-
something is rubbing against the microphone.
okay. So Dan, you're up. Mike, would you mute yourself? And Dan, it's up. It's your opening statement. Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the seminar. My name's Dan Cochran. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and also the residents of Greenfield for tuning into this webinar to find out some of the facts that are going on in the town here. I've lived in Greenfield with my family since 1988. It's been 37 years. Happily married for 47 years and have 4 children and 9 grandkids. On June 26th, I'll retire as a nuclear engineer from Knowles Atomic Power Lab after 34 years. I just want to say that I'm dedicated to Greenfield. In 88, I was a Cub Master. I did computers for seniors in 98. I was on the ambulance committee, which is important for maybe during our discussion here in 98. And I was on the Greenfield Planning Board for 11 years. I was on the Greenfield Town Board for 12 years when I retired at the end of my 3rd term.
1 minute.
I was treasurer secretary of the Greenfield Cemetery Association, helping a lot of folks for 22 years, from 97 to 19. I care about Greenfield. I care about it a whole lot. On hearing of my retirement, several Greenfield residents asked me if I'd run for town supervisor. And I don't dislike the current supervisor. I like Mike Gyarmathy because him and I worked on some code changes about 8 years ago. I'm pretty much concerned with the direction that the current administration is managing the town, including but not limiting irresponsible spending, lack of transparency, creating a negative environment, and not keeping town laws current to meet the town needs. So those are the most important. So with that, I'll close my opening statement.
Thank you, Dan. Then we're going to get into the, and if you want to mute yourself, please. Now we're going to get into the question part of this event tonight. The candidates each have 1.5 minutes to respond to a question, but they're not required to respond. So you can pass if you wish. Each candidate will be afforded 2 opportunities to request an additional minute during the question and answer session for rebuttal or to answer a question or to expand on an answer. So just please hold up your hand and wait to be acknowledged and by me, and then we'll give you your extra minute. And this can only be done during the question and answer session, and it may not be used for opening or closing statements. So the questions are going to be directed to the candidates in rotation so that each one gets a chance to respond first. And as I said before, please feel free to ask me to repeat a question if you would like. So the first question is going to go to Dan. And here it is. There has been community concern voiced regarding the lack of transparency within the current town hall council. What would you like to see done differently to increase transparency within the town council?
Well, what I've noticed in the town recently is that being on the town board for 12 years, I noticed when right after the town clerk Louise left and the current supervisor, took the reins, that all the meeting minutes, basically, they're lacking in detail to a great extent. They just talk about motions primarily, topics and motions, but it really doesn't speak to, what was discussed in the, during the meeting. So it's lacking in that. Another fact that I've heard about and from several people is the current supervisor, he's inaccessible by, pretty much closing his door when he gets to work. And his hours are not set, so it's kind of hard to figure out when he's there. And screening calls through his executive secretary, so that's
30
another item as far as lack of transparency. Many times all meeting minutes are not really put on the web till maybe an hour before the meetings that the public attends. So those are primarily the transparency issues that I have.
Thank you, Dan. Mike, you want to unmute yourself?
I agree with Dan on a lot of this. I think that that the existing supervisor doesn't have set hours. I think I would like to establish set hours. I've put my cell phone number on our town website so that people can access me at any time. I'm available any time of the day. I think we can do a better job of advertising what we're going to talk about at our meetings, maybe on our sign and maybe on our website as well. Residents have told me they're concerned about how hard it is to access our website on their phones. So I think we need to work on that with our provider and make our website more accessible for everyone. As far as the meeting minutes go, I think that's a little bit based on town law.
30 seconds.
I don't know. We can ask the town clerk to give more details, so we can work on that as well.
Okay, thank you. And Mike, this is going to go to you first, this next question. Greenfield has long been an agriculture-friendly community. However, it feels as if solar and housing development has taken forefront importance over protecting the agriculture community. What do you envision regarding the future of the town of Greenfield over the next, say, decade?
So I think what's really important is what we just started to do. So we just started, the planning and zoning board chairs have just started a zoning committee. And I think that our zoning laws need to be updated to meet the changing times. But I think at the same time, our comprehensive plan has not been reviewed in some time and it needs updating. I think it'll help keep Greenfield green. I mean, we're a very diverse community and we have to protect all the residents in our town. And I don't see, our growth over the years has been very steady. Limited, 18 houses a year and new houses. So we're only growing by about
30 seconds.
200 people a decade. So I think just more involvement all around and more communication all around.
Thank you, Mike. Dan?
Yes, Mike's pretty much hit on the important issues. I feel this is a very important thing for the town to keep the code language, changing the code language to make sure it meets the needs as a town. It's very important that we do that. The code language in the town hadn't been changed in 20 years. Mike helped me on it 8 years ago. We tried to get some work done on that, but one of the previous supervisors put a nix on that. But 20 years is a long time for actually updating code language. It's very important for us to have good laws and rules, and code language helps with that. The comprehensive plan, of course, it wasn't done since May of 2005. And so that's way, way too long. Now, as far as the growth, Mike's pretty much right about the growth of Greenfield. We haven't been growing exponentially. However, we do see the pressures of the becoming like a Wilton or a Clifton Park. Those are always important.
30 seconds.
It's important that we make sure that we maintain our actual, agricultural background type feeling in the community, because almost most all the people that I've talked to in the town, that's what they love about Greenfield. That we do recognize that we are rural and we're not a Wilton or a Clifton Park. So that's all I have on that.
Thank you, Dan. And you're going to be up first for this next one. What is your plan to support and strengthen our volunteer fire departments, given the increasing demands and limited resources they often face?
It's very important, of course, that we support the volunteer fire department. I think this administration, the one prior, has installed an ambulance, and that's very important to help the fire department do their job. That's always been a challenge for communities to support their volunteers. I know Mike has a whole lot more experience with the volunteer fire department. He talks with them a lot more than I do, so he might have some more insight into the volunteers. So.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Yeah, so currently I am the liaison to the fire department, and recently our chief actually lives in Wilton as a town board member, and he has invited me to attend committee meetings with the town, the EMS, and the fire department. And I think that is very important. I look forward to starting our own committee. I think that for some reason, over the course of years, the town and the fire department have broken apart a little bit. And I think we need to bring them back together. I think that we could share our resources to help the fire department gain new volunteers, and just work together better. I think the community as a whole needs to be brought back together, and we should start there with the fire department.
30
Okay.
seconds.
Thank you, Mike. And you're up next. The community has recently seen a higher than normal turnover rate within town employees leaving their positions. What do you feel has been the cause for this increase, and how would you address such issues as supervisor?
We have to blame it on the leadership. So I've been talking to the people over at the highway garage. I've been talking to the people within the town hall. And I think what I'd like to see is that we conduct team meetings every week, and bring all of our employees together. I think that as a team, we can serve the residents better, and I think it's going to create a better work environment for everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, short and sweet.
No. Dan?
Well, I do believe that it's the responsibility of a supervisor to support all the town employees and to reach out and find out what the concerns are. Mike's right, it'd be good to have weekly meetings. Unfortunately, with the current administration, we've had a lot of just heavy-handedness, like in code enforcement, and we've just had various things that haven't worked out very well to keep harmony in the community. And it's very important that we, as a supervisor, you keep cohesion, amongst all the employees and work together as a team. And I just don't see there's a lot of team building going on now. So that's it for that question.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yep.
And you're up first for the next one. Given ongoing concerns in Greenfield about an unresponsive dog control program and lack of follow-through on reported issues, what concrete actions would you take as supervisor to ensure this service is both accountable and effective?
Well, since we want to be an agricultural community, you know, it's kind of important to have animal/dog control program. I personally haven't really heard of any problems in the dog control area. Maybe Mike might shed some light on that. I haven't been in the town government here for about 6 years, so I would get I would try to talk to the concerned citizens about what's the problem with the dog control program, and talk with the dog control officer and find out how we can mitigate the problem. Maybe Mike has some better information about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Mike?
I haven't heard that we had problems with the dog control officer. I know we've had the same dog control officer for many years. I know we hired an assistant for her a few years ago. So I'm sorry, but I'm not aware of any issues there. And I think the residents, that when they do have an issue, they should absolutely call the town hall, or all of our telephone numbers are listed. The person could reach out to me, and we can get to the bottom of it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And you're up next for this one. Spending has increased by 40% over the last 4 years, outpacing even national yearly inflation. The town of Greenfield averages an almost 545,000 yearly increase in spending. Do you have a plan to contain costs? Do you have a plan to contain costs?
I think we've had some expenses these past years that we've had to deal with. I think that the existing administration, I put it out in my flyer that I think that they were handing out raises that were above any norms. One employee got a 38% raise. And I'm not trying to say that she doesn't do a great job, but I think we need to implement a step program so that when an employee is hired, you're hired at a lower rate than someone, say, for example, who's been there for 20 years. I plan to look at our budget in great detail to find out where these extravagant expenses are coming from, and hopefully I'll be more involved in the budgets for in the upcoming
30 seconds.
year.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Mike.
You're welcome.
Dan?
Mike pretty much has it right. I mean, the spending has really gotten a lot out of hand in many cases, particularly, one employee getting, a sizable 20-25% increase very rapidly. And that's just excessive. Another thing that I've noticed, over the 4 years of the current administration, a lot of money's been spent for not a whole lot of happening in the town. I'll give you a few examples that I can see from being on the planning board and town board. Community center is still not fixed, right? And a lot of money has gone out without that really being addressed. It's being addressed now since I think it's an election year. The current administration wants to look at bonding to be put in place to pay for it, and that's not a good idea whatsoever. Even though we have an ambulance, which is a great thing, I really like that facet, but there's no ambulance building that we own, and we rent it. The town park near the golf course, for all the money we've spent over the last 4 years,
3 seconds.
the town park, it's a pole barn. It's been clear cut. There's porta-johns, not even bathrooms. There's a playground set, which is a nice looking playground set out in the middle of a field. And we actually have a beautiful sign in town, but it's against the code. It's an interior lit sign. And for years, all I heard was you can't have interior lit signs, but I do like the sign. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. and you're up for this one. Is the town concerned, and can the town do anything to address speeding cars and trucks on Daniels Road, Route 9, and other country roads that are seeing traffic increases as the county grows?
I've noticed in the past, and also in a couple of meetings I've been to recently, that what seems to kind of help out are these, I guess, the radar signs that tell you what your speed is, and also there's recordings that you can make. Actually, the speed bumps that you run across, and that gives you information about what the condition is. Work with the local sheriff's department to try to see if they'll increase the monitoring of speeding over the roads. But it is a problem in many areas that people come over blind roads, and they're just speeding quite a bit. So I think if we work with the highway department and the sheriff's department, we can come up with something that'll help.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Yeah, I think Dan pretty much hit the nail on the head here. I think that, we have been purchasing those radar signs, and we have a couple of permanent ones, and then we have ones that are not permanent that we can move to do assessment on roads when we get complaints. Our past highway superintendent has submitted 13 roads to the state. So believe it or not, we still have 13 roads in our town with a 55-mile-per-hour speed limit on them. So we have submitted to the state for a reduction, and the highway superintendent told me it would take about 2 years to hear from the state on that. And I think every year we have sent a letter to the state regarding Daniels Road, and they keep telling us that
Seconds.
there's no need for a reduction. So all we can do is keep those radar signs up there and work together with the sheriff's department for more enforcement.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And you're up first for this one. I'm wondering, not me, the person who wrote this question. I'm wondering where the farm first signs went. Greenfield has generationally and traditionally been sustaining our community from crops and farms from our land. I see the Purple Heart town signs. And of course, we do support our veterans. Some farm families have been here for 8 generations or more. How are we showing our farm families that we are supporting them?
I think the way that we're going to do that is through reviewing our zoning codes and making sure that our residents who'd like to participate in farm activities can do so without being a good neighbor. So, that's where most of your problems start, is a neighbor not being a good neighbor. So I think all of us in Greenfield appreciate its rural value. In fact, folks have started up the Grange again, and I think it's great. Nobody wants to keep Greenfield green more than I do. I love our rural character, and I support anyone who wants to farm in our community and grow their own crops. We just have to be good neighbors as we're doing it.
Thank you. Dan?
Mike pretty much hit it. He's code language is, I mean, in this instance, it's a lot to it. It's everything, because we worked on it 20 years ago. We came up with code language relative to like hobby farms. I know that's not how we want to address it now. However, it needs to be fortified quite a bit in the code language. People who are buying land coming into Greenfield, they have to recognize that we are a rural community, and people do have chickens and various things like that. I'm glad to hear Mike, that the Grange is starting back up. I've always enjoyed that activity. It's really good for a good, strong community to have activities like that and organizations like that. So we need to work on the code language.
Thank you, Dan. And so you're up first for this next question. What is the most critical issue facing your town? And would you expand on that? Explain your answer.
Is that me or is that Dan?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Dan and you're muted. I'll repeat the question.
Honestly, I kind of struggled a little bit with finding the priorities here with this question. I'd have to say that I feel that keeping the town laws current. And again, the comprehensive plan is very important because we're changing as a community. We have a lot of pressures from surrounding communities. That, we have we're not growing by leaps and bounds. However, we want to kind of keep it rural. The comprehensive plan would help in that immensely. Dear to my heart that I worked on 20 years ago is the town code language. We realized back then that there was a windmill might come into the town. So we took a bunch of town people out to Tug Hill Plateau and figured out what windmills look like. And it's important that we engage in keeping the town code language up to date. That's very important. And one other thing I want to talk about is foster volunteerism. Volunteerism is extremely important in the town for scouting and for
30 seconds.
sports, and also just for the planning board and zoning boards and those kind of things. These people spend enormous amount of their own time to make the town good, and that's the strength of our town right there. So I'll leave it to Mike.
Thank you, Dan. Mike?
I agree with Dan as far as we desperately need to look at our comprehensive plan again, and I am happy that we finally have a committee working on our zoning laws. But we really need to strengthen our leadership and have a leader that wants to bring everybody back together. I think that's crucial. I think that while I was on the planning board, I learned so much from the residents of our community regarding all these issues that we're speaking of tonight. And so communication with the residents is very, very important. And, like we touched on earlier, we have to involve the community in our budgeting process as well. Typically workshops are held at 9 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's at work. We need to do things at a reasonable time. Community involvement is great.
Thank you, Mike. And you're up first for this next one. What kind of growth do you envision in Greenfield over the next 10 years?
Well, quite honestly, I hope it stays just the way it is. I recently looked at our growth going back approximately 15 years, and it's incredible how steady it has been. In order for a community to be successful, we always have to have sustainable growth. And our community, fortunately, is on that path. And like Dan said, I hope the pressures from the outside world don't influence us. And that's, another reason, I hate to keep harping on it, but the comprehensive plan and the zoning laws need to be looked at again. Thank you.
You and Dan?
Mike, that was a good address of that. I agree with what Mike's saying. I will point out to you though, the one thing that I'm concerned with is, and this will go along with the improvement in the code language and the reinforcement of our laws, and is the encroachment of solar farms in the community. It's very important that we address this properly. I understand there's pressures from the state that it'll actually, whatever we do in our town, if there's somebody that wants a big solar field, the state could possibly come in and tell them, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and we have no choice over it. So we have to get strong language along the code language, the code law to support what we want to do in the town. But I see the growth steady. I hope I don't want to become a Wilton or a Clifton Park, but steady growth is good, and just keeping our community rural because everybody likes it that way. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dan. And we have one final question. This kind of broadens it up to the whole county. What are the most critical issues facing Saratoga County today and in the near future? And please explain. And that's you, Dan.
Okay, so there's two that surface to the top out of about the five of the concerns I have in the county. I guess the first one is the homelessness in Saratoga County. We've had a twofold increase in homelessness in the county, mainly due to rising housing costs, lack of affordable housing, low wages, and of course inflation. Inflation hits everybody. Go buy some groceries nowadays. $50 for a bag is pretty high. You got poverty, mental health issues, and so forth. That's probably the number one. Number two is unfunded federal and state mandates. However, there is good news about that. The natural average for property tax rate is 1%. Saratoga County is 1.6, and the New York State average is 2.39. So we're about in the middle. So we're sitting good along those lines. But those are the two problems I see in the county out of the five that I have here. So thank you.
Well, you have 30 more seconds.
Oh, 30 more seconds. Lack of broadband in rural areas, rapid growth and infrastructure pressures, and balance and development and preservation. So, yeah, that's what I have for those.
Thank you. And Mike?
I have to agree with Dan on all of that. And I think also we have to realize that Saratoga County has been one of the fastest growing counties in New York State for quite some time. And there's been talk of different forms of government, an executive style versus the Board of Supervisors that we have now. And I really like the form of government that we have now because I feel like all the towns within our county have a say in what goes on. And I think the Board of Supervisors has done a great job at keeping our tax rate low and also, helping businesses develop within Saratoga County. So I really appreciate the Board of Supervisors form of government. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mike. That
I
concludes
agree
all-
with Mike on the county executive. I agree with that, not having a county executive.
Okay. So those were all the questions that were submitted by the community. And so now it's time for closing statements. And you each have 1 minute for your closing statement. And Mike, you're up first.
Okay, again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event, and I am very thankful to all the residents that have joined us this evening. I think all of the questions were excellent. I think that we addressed a lot of the issues that are going on within our town. I encourage, everyone to go on our website, our Facebook page, Mike Gyarmathy for Supervisor, where we talk in depth about the issues facing our town. And I encourage everyone to get out there and vote on June 24th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Dan?
Yes, thanks, Mike. I don't see the town of Greenfield really in good shape as I remember it. And I've done a lot in the town here, and so has Mike. if elected, I really want to rebuild the trust and the harmony in the town and be totally transparent. I think that's very important. Personally, I want to bring the town to the town my 34 years in naval nuclear experience received, such as integrity, honesty, and formality. I think that would help if we bring that to the town. I'm dedicated to Greenfield, as I said before, between coaching and being on town boards and so forth. I love this town. This town means a lot to me. And I do want to tell you that I actually did come to the town on a horse in 1993. I hope everybody can see this. But anyway, I'm sitting there as a
Back a
town
little bit.
crier.
There you go.
There,
Stop
town
right there.
crier, 1993. I'm in the time capsule as well. So I came to town on a horse, all right? So another thing I want to, stop. Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
Dan.
to you and the League of Women Voters.
Thank you. You're welcome. Just some final statements. The voters who reside in the town of Greenfield and are registered with the Republican Party may vote on June 24th. Ballots can be cast between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. at your regular voting place. And then early voting takes place June 14th through the 22nd. To check your polling location if you're unsure and to find information on early voting in person, early voting by mail, and absentee voting, go to the website of the Town of Greenfield or the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County website or our vote411.org website. I want to thank the candidates for participating in this event and helping to educate the voters in your town of Greenfield. And I want to thank the public for submitting the questions and the viewers who have taken the time to watch this event and learn about your candidates. Good night.